r/AskReddit. Redditors who are married to Karens. How is it like? Divorced Karen. Haven't had a need to see a manager since. Thank you. But it is my favorite when family members or boyfriends swing by later to tell me they're sorry for Karen's behavior and that I'm doing a great job. Blink blink blink. Bleeyink. 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 Blink blink blink. None of them are on here. They're on shared Facebook accounts named Karen and Dave Smith. This exploded more than I could imagine. Thanks for the awards and my first gold. I actually know a Karen and Dave Smith. She's not a Karen though. Their daughter is a shit though. My mom is a literal Karen, as in, it's her name. But she's like a bizarro Karen. She will constantly ask to speak with managers and supervisors and bosses. But when said managers arrive, she unloads about the employee helping her out was fantastic, hardworking and friendly, and then she'll spend 20 minutes trying to figure out if she and the manager know someone in common. 9 times out of 10 they do. As a kid it would embarrass me. As an adult it's one of my favorite things about her. She makes people feel good about the work they do, and it's really special to watch how wonderful she makes people feel. Plus she's got long gorgeous silver hair. Edit. Karen and I are crying with all the love and support. She's a wonderful lady, and to give my fair city a much needed boost, this Karen is a lifelong Philadelphian. Thank you all for making mine and my mom's day. Stay safe out there. Not married to a Karen, but married someone with a Karen for a sister. Sil is the freaking worst. I hate more than anything going out to dinner with her, listening to her order food and talk to the servers. Holidays are also terrible. She sends out long lists of expected gifts list. She celebrates every holiday and birthday specifically for presents even when it's not appropriate. Funny thing is one time I was away from the dinner table when the bill came and Sil waited for me to return to pay the bill by actually handing it to me. She didn't give it to her sibling Miso or pay her half, but expressly handed it to me to pay. BTW. Her husband is an idiot and they are a match made in heaven. Edit. I'm sorry to disappoint everyone, but yes I did pay. There are many reasons as to why, but the biggest one is that it got me out of the restaurant faster. Also, it helps me control the tip. Another time we went to a family brunch where the bill was split. Karen still waited to see what other people tipped so she could lower the overall tip percentage for the waitress to what Sil thought was deserving. We didn't know this until afterwards when she bragged about it later, so no one even knew to stop her. And she is invited to these family meals because she has 2 children we want a relationship with. So she has that emotional blackmail card. It is the absolute best. I love my wife. Edit. I didn't write that. Blink twice if you're being held captive. Edit. He seems to be held captive. He's under quarantine. My sister is a Karen. Everyone feels so sorry for her husband. Everything is his fault. He is treated like a slave. She only addresses him by yelling. She constantly insults him. We have no idea why he hasn't divorced her or flipped out and attacked her. We have all told her to cool it and her response is that he's just so stupid. I could go on and on, but my sister really is a horrible person. Not married to one, but mom was a major Karen back when I was growing up. Mom, can we just go? Was my favorite question. Then the apologetic nod as we leave the store. I really relate to this. All throughout my childhood it happened. I remember being an embarrassed 11-year-old walking round apologizing for my mom's behavior in stores and restaurants. It sucked. It's supposed to be the other way around. Edit. Grammatical correction. Added throughout and embarrassed and punctuation. I know a couple with a Karen. She blamed him for everything. The husband was, in our opinion, something of a son. Once she broke a glass in the kitchen, came and sat back down at the table, and said that was your fault. We all just stared at her. She looked sheepish and said I knew that one probably wouldn't work. They're divorced. Now, I guess even saintliness has its limits. Edit. And now for the you can't make this up zinger. Her first name is really and truly Karen. My husband's ex is Karen. She's a classic narcissist. When one of our feral hens started acting aggressive towards other hens, my stepson named her Karen. Edit. Row. The most upvotes I've ever had. No awards, though. Ha. Also, we live on Kauai, so we differentiate between feral chickens and the ones cage raised for food and or eggs. We have 5 or so roosters, 8 or so hens, 3 of which have 4, 6, and 8 chicks. We feed the adults oats and scraps and the chicks get chick starter until they can eat other stuff. We really love them, except the roosters. They're righteous bastards. Honey Saint Ly, she's perfect. She makes me so happy. So happy youffound love. Not the married to one, but my mom's a Karen. Literally overreacts to everything. Whenever something doesn't go her way, you guessed, go to speak to the manager or whoever is in charge. Sometimes really embarrassing to go out in public with her because she'll just yell at the service workers for the smallest of things. Also, she has a bob cut. My mom was a Karen for a while. She literally didn't realize it until my brother and I started calling her out on it when we were early teens because we're embarrassed. She made genuine efforts to change, and a few years later was the sweetest woman you ever meet. Just saying, there's hope. Not married to one, but my aunt is. My uncle is this soft-spoken giant. He never stands up to her in any way, except once. At their daughter's wedding, she was about to interrupt the ceremony to close a window because she was chilly. Everyone sitting close could hear her whisper, "I'm going to do it, but I don't want to be an a-hole." My uncle, in a calm, quiet tone, says quickly, "Why stop now?" Almost as if his filter just missed this one. I swear I could hear my dad snort 2 rows back trying to hold in laughter. Karen was not happy. My mom's a Karen. She is self-aware she is a Karen. My siblings and I send her memes about it. When my stepdad divorced her last summer, we were all amazed he lasted 17 years, to be honest. None of us like going out with her, it's terrible, and my husband just straight up tells her, "No, you aren't talking to the manager when we go in a place." I'll tell you guys a story my step told us. They are farmers and own a small beef and bee farm. They have a store they go to for bee supplies. The owner called my stepdad and asked him to please be the one to pick up their stuff because his staff was tired of dealing with my mom. He is the only one who went to the store for the next 5 years. Don't think there's any Karen's husbands on Reddit. They're probably all on Facebook. Or divorced. My mom is a Karen. She thinks the world is supposed to cater to her, serve her, and everyone else is wrong. Once we went to Carl's Jr., she ordered 4 burgers. For the 4 of us. She pulls one out of the bag while the guy is getting our drinks and hides it. She complains that he forgot a burger. She pulls them out one by one and counts it in front of him. It's obviously missing because she hid it, and he's swearing up and down he put them all in the bag. I'm stunned, speechless, and it happened so fast. She got a free burger and laughed as we drive off. I'm just staring at her, and she opens it up to eat it on the drive home. And she ate her actual burger like the 5th one never existed. I can't even explain how she is when she's in the hospital. She treats it like a luxury stay in a hotel. Co-worker of mine is married to a Karen. He tells us stories multiple days a week how she drives to 4 different grocery stores and harasses the employees because their stock is low on the specific item she wants. Sounds like he married her to have some entertainment. Is he boring? D. I knew from the beginning that there would be difficulties, but I loved her and made the leap to make her my forever partner. Yes, her attitude towards certain people and things confused me at times. But by keeping an open mind and accepting her for who she was, everything has worked out well. We've been married for 10 years. We have a darling daughter, and I've even come to love my wife's kimchi fried rice. I taught my nephews, ages 9 and 11, about Karens last year when they stayed with us for a week after school let out. After describing traits and observing them in the wild, they asked somewhere around day 2, "Is our mom a Karen?" My reply, "Your words, not mine." My mom can be difficult sometimes, but isn't a Karen. When my sister and I were in our mid-20s, my mom had to start caring for our grandma. After a particularly stressful Saturday afternoon at my grandma's home, we were all carpooling back to my mom's house, and she said to my sister and I, "If I ever start acting like grandma, you better tell me." My sister and I sat there in complete silence. After a couple beats, she yelled, "I do not act like my mother." It made my sister and I laugh until we cried. Mostly because, yes, she did does act like her mother. Not married but dated a male Karen for 8 years. He was a semi-successful business owner who was twice my age, and I was young and dumb, for a lack of a better word. The gist of our relationship was him trying to take over every part of my life. For instance, he would order for me at restaurants and would dissuade me if I wanted to try something new. If I had a problem with something it would be brushed off, but if he had a problem then he had to talk to a manager. Not knowing any better, I just thought he was very particular and even started copying some of his tendencies, like speaking up when I felt I wasn't getting the right service when I was out on my own. I realized who he was when we were flying back from Vegas and our luggage was heavier than when we flew in. Obviously we'd bought extra things which made up for the weight difference, so as he demanded to know an explanation from the check-in clerk as to why if it was the same luggage would it somehow weigh more. I innocently answered that it must have been the extra shoes and clothes. He was quiet and paid up. Later he told me to not to do that again as he knew the reason why the luggage was heavier. He was just trying to get away with not paying. At that moment a bulb went off in my head. This man who'd spent $1,500 on a stripper for his friend was making an already stressful job more stressful for the clerk in order to avoid paying $60. We broke up soon after and I checked myself on the Karen tendencies he'd rubbed off on me. Not married to one, but my mom is absolutely one. I spend most of my time with her in public apologizing to people after she's walked away. The one and only time it comes in handy is when I've bought cars and had her come in during the price negotiation phase. She's knocked off thousands purely due to how unpleasant she is and how much people want her to just get the hell out of the door. Help me, please. Sorry, you'll need to speak to the manager. My ex-wife is a Karen, in every sense but name. It was always so embarrassing. She was incapable of treating anyone like a human for the most trivial of occurrences. It was hell for me, as a person that's pretty forgiving and don't seek out confrontation. So in a one-word description, it was hell. LOL. P.S. She's very codependent and jumps from relationship to relationship these days. Not surprised. My life has been a living hell. The number of times I have had to intervene to save the life of a customer service rep over nickels is insane. I've asked for divorce now just a couple weeks ago. Guess how that went over? Stay strong. Lawyer up. Bury gold in a place only you know where it is. Prepare for war, but good on you. Engaged to one. She was raised as a princess by her military-raised father. However, she's super down to earth, but God forbid you work in the service industry and mess something up. She worked at IHOP during college, so it humbled her compared to her family. She just writes reviews now, good or bad, and emails corporate to complain. If something is wrong with my food, she refuses me to sit there and eat it, which I hate, but I have gotten her better about it, I believe. So maybe she is just a recovering Karen at this point. My mother is a Karen. If something minor inconveniences her, she blows it up into a huge done, constantly complains, belittles me and has a slight superiority complex. Divorced and abusive Karen who was convicted of domestic violence. That's a misdemeanor, folks. So she got half of everything. Totally worth it. My life before was a nightmare. Escape was priceless. Note, if you are in a similar situation, especially now what with coronavirus quarantines, and need someone to talk to, PM me. Karen, I love my beautiful wife to the moon and back, and she is AMAZNG and STR wrong-willed. My mum is a bit of a Karen, and we're pretty much no contact now, so that should tell you everything you need to know. Whenever we'd go out to eat, it's always too cold. They don't have the brand of sparkling water she likes. They've put ice in her drink when she didn't want it. She always has to make some kind of modification to her order, etc. The list goes on. It got to the point where if we were out shopping and she said she needed to return something, I'd just go somewhere else because I couldn't stand watching her be rude and argue with the staff. My parents are divorced and I live with my dad now instead. Part of the reason I barely see my mum is because I'd have to meet her in public, go for a coffee or something, and I just can't deal with the way she behaves in these places, so I don't go. I was dating one and she acts as if we're still together. Woozy face with uneven eyes and wavy mouth. Not married to a Karen, but my mom is a Karen whose name is actually Karen. Simply put, I haven't seen her in over a year because I couldn't take it anymore. Living with her was just an exhausting nightmare. Karen's world revolves around Karen. Nobody else's issues matter. If you tell her that you had a bad day, she'll give you 20 reasons why her day was worse. You worked 60 hours this week. Well, when she was your age, She would work 80. You're in the hospital after having major surgery. She has a pinched nerve in her arm, which is somehow worse. Your boyfriend cheated on you. She couldn't even begin to tell you about all the heartbreak she's experienced in her life. She complains left and right about anything and everything. If you're taking a week break after just getting back from college, she'll ask why you haven't gotten a job yet and claim you're lazy. If you're out to eat at a restaurant, the food is always too cold or too burnt or too salty. You can only ever go to the places she wants to go to because everything else is crap. My entire graduation dinner she complained about how cold the food was. She thrives in getting attention and constantly seeks it, but she has very few actual friends. Facebook is her lifeblood and she's always looking to start something on there. She's the queen of sharing uninformed, misguided, conservative propaganda, which always starts fights in her comments. Also, if a tragedy happens in the family, like the passing of my teenage cousin, she'll make a big scene on Facebook and expect condolences from anyone and everyone, and makes note of the people who don't give her what she wants. Don't even get me started on the blatant racism. I've heard everything from, watch out for black people on the subway, they'll try to take your purse, to it should be illegal for those Muslims to cover their faces. You should be able to see someone's face. One of my best friends is black and she once told me, he's one of the good ones. They should all be like him. Minor, but the house always has to be spotless. You have a shirt on your bedroom floor? Pick up. You kids are all slobs. We have people coming over. No we don't, and even if we do, why would they be going in my bedroom? Her house is a house, and she'll let you know. Any object she has spent money on doesn't belong to you. It belongs to her. She also spends way too much money on home decor like oriental rugs, furniture, etc. But then complains about how she has no money. Too long didn't read. My mother is a Karen who is actually named Karen. Living with her is a nightmare. And before anyone asks, yes, my dad is divorced from her. I'm divorcing a Karen. Nothing was ever good enough. Everything had to be the most expensive thing, and even then it wasn't good enough. It was exhausting and it sucked the passion I had for life out of me. Edit. Slept on this and thought of some more telltale signs. She never said nice things about me, to me or to other people. My best friend came over for a barbecue with his wife and kids, and her mother just mocked me the whole time to my friend's wife. My friend's wife confronted them about it. Even on our wedding day, the part you say nice things sounded like a tentatively warm school report card. The nicest thing I remember her saying about me was, I like how you make the salads. It's better than how I make it. The whole time that's the best I can think of. Whoa, you made it to the end? You're a ducking beast. I'll cut you a deal. Smash like and subscribe for more curated content, bruh. It's free and that's a great price.